see it.
Hi, I'm Mark Tilley, and you're watching Dirtbike Magazine's Year 23 video series, where we take you up close and personal with all the 2023 450cc motocross models available in the US today. Today we're getting our first chance to ride. We've been waiting to ride this motorcycle for months after we've heard about it. The brand new 2023 Yamaha Yz450f. Now Yamaha made a lot of changes. This is actually the 25th anniversary of the 4-stroke motocross bike, starting with the Yz400. But they've done a lot of stuff to this motorcycle, kind of taken what we've said, taken what other media outlets have said, taken what the general public has said, and they've tried to make everything lighter, everything more durable, make the bike have more power. They've done a lot of stuff like changing the controls, putting everything in one spot. Like this is the map switch and also the kill button. And then now the only other thing on the handlebar control wise is the starter button. So there's lots of stuff that they've done in here. They've slimmed the bike down all the way around. It saves weight. It's got a claimed weight now of right around 240 pounds. So it's gonna make it pretty close to one of the lightest Japanese 450s in the class. They've done some stuff to the air box and the air intake, making it a straighter shot into the throttle body, therefore making more power. They've done a little bit here on the air box and making it easy to get into the air box, actually really easy to get into the air box with no tools required, and then even being able to take the air filter out like that, pop it back in really easily. So there's lots of new stuff on this bike that has changed, and like I said, they're trying to get that center of mass towards the middle of the bike, lightening it up, slimming it down where at the radiators where we've always talked about, hey, this bike's really wide, tried to quiet down the intake noise. There's a lot more to this motorcycle that they've done. If you want all the in-depth technical specs, head over to dirtbikemagazine.com. We're gonna go ride it and then come back and tell you what we think. So we just got our first day of testing on the long-awaited 2023 Yamaha Yz450 here at the Star facility. This facility is absolutely amazing. You know why they're winning championships when they have tracks like this to ride. So grateful that Yamaha brought us out here to actually look at and tour the facility. And the motorcycle that Yamaha gave us this year in 2023 is refined, and it's refined in a bunch of different ways. We thought the 2022 model and the previous models were on the wide side and definitely on the cramp side. All Yamaha riders can rejoice right now. This bike is no longer on the cramp side. It's no longer on the wide side. It's basically like every other 450 in the class. It's a lot slimmer than last year. It's a lot more rider friendly than that last year. They talk about the rider triangle and opening it up and frame the way it is now, all the updates they made with the peg position down and back now. It really frees it up. I actually did some testing and I liked the bar position in the position forward turned around backwards so that it kind of gave it our middle position of where the bar mounts. I tried it for about half a lap. I hated it. It made it to where the bike was, I was too far forward on the bike and it stretched me out a lot more than I wanted to be. I went back to the standard stock settings, which is actually in the front position on the triple clamp, and moved around to where it goes to where it's forward. There's actually a position to where you can, even if you're a smaller guy, you can turn those back bar mounts around and actually run them even closer to the rider. So again, they did a really good job opening up that rider cockpit. I'm about 6 foot, and for myself, and then we had some other test riders that were a little bit shorter. Both of us felt like we weren't cramped. We had whatever space we wanted, and when we did try to open it up a little bit more, it was too much. That part of the bike, definitely a good thing. The bike feels lighter in the air, feels maybe a little bit more flickable while you're in the air. Kind of a grief with is the sucking sound of the throttle body and the air intake and stuff like that. It's still there. When you get on it, you can still hear the sucking sound. And for some people, it might make them a little bit uneasy with hearing that. For me, myself, I can hear it. It's loud and it bugs me, but that's really the only thing that bugs me about this motorcycle. I mean, it's everything that we asked them to do. It's slim the bike down, open up the rider cockpit, make it a little bit more rider friendly. We've always said that the suspension components on this bike are good. The Yamaha was one of the only companies that never went to an air fork, and they basically just said, well, when we find something that works better than what our fork works, then we'll switch it. But until we find something that works better, we're not going to switch it. Everything on the engine on this motorcycle has been touched. The cases, there's only, in the entire bike, there's only about 6 part numbers that are the same. So there's only a handful of parts that are the same. The wheels, the tires, the exhaust can is the same, piston ring, piston pin, but other than that, not very many things. It's an all new motorcycle. They've dropped a bunch of weight. They brought out new components. One of the new things that they have, and nobody else on the market has it, is the option of using a hydraulic clutch. You either have a cable clutch or you have a hydraulic clutch on all the other motorcycles. Yamaha brought out a thing to where they have the option of it. And if it's all bled and all done up, it only takes about 10 or 15 minutes to change. And we got to ride bikes back to back with the cable, and then there was a bike here equipped with a hydraulic clutch. Hydraulic clutch guys are really gonna like it. The cable guy, they can stay with the cable, and you might even get some converts over to the hydraulic side just because it is so easy to change. So there's definitely a lot of benefits to this bike. Another thing that we went through that Yamaha fine-tuning this motorcycle are the motor mounts. The motor mounts, instead of being one solid 8mm mount, it's 2 4mm mounts put together because it flexed a little bit different and it did a little bit better in the testing. So they brought that straight to the market. The new styling, they run all the cables and the brake lines and everything behind the front number plate. So it makes it to where it's a cleaner look all the way around. It's got, actually, if you look on the back of the number plate, it's got actual routing directions on where to put the brake line and where to put the throttle cable and where to put all that stuff. So like we said, Yamaha doing a lot of refinements to their motorcycles. Another refinement that they did was the seat comes off now and the battery box is right there, whereas before it's kind of tucked in behind some stuff and you had to reach around and grab some stuff, and kind of a little bit of an awkward deal to do. Now you take the seat off and everything's right there. They were able to eliminate some cross members. So overall, what Yamaha's thing was to make this bike, slim it down, lose weight, and now the claimed weight is way down there. We don't have our Dirtbike magazine scale here, but when we get it back to California, we are gonna throw it on the scale and see exactly how much it weighs. But you know, they're claiming around 240 pounds, and that would make it one of the lighter Japanese brand 450s in the class. So other things when it comes to riding this motorcycle on this track was ripped really deep in the morning. This bike, tons of power. Like power on the ready. Actually, in the stock map or in the standard map, it has a little bit too much power for me. Right off bottom, you notice that it does rev longer and it's making power, and it's not just revving, it's making power. I use the standard linear map, what they say the less aggressive map than what stock is, and it just made the bike kind of settle in everywhere and be a little bit better for me and a little bit better for my power delivery wants. But even if I couldn't find a map that I liked, the Yamaha Power Tuner, not only did they update the motorcycle, but they did a lot to the Power Tuner. The Power Tuner has a lap mode in there now, fuel consumption to go down to exactly how much fuel you're consuming. For somebody that really wants to get into it and really wants to know what their bike is doing and what they can make their bike do and how they can make their bike feel. Yamaha has set the standard for the tunability, and it's done through your smartphone. I mean, it's not that hard to download. A lot of people have smartphones nowadays. It's not an uncommon thing. It's not a very uncommon thing for people to have a smartphone. So quick download, go to your app store and get that, and it's free. It's technology that only a few years ago we were paying for. We were paying people at shops to change it. Now you can do it from your phone. They even have a thing to where if you don't understand exactly how the tuner and you don't want to go in there and change, you know, plus or minus or do that yourself, they have a little slide bar that will change it for you as you're going through. So it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, it would be great if every manufacturer offered it. Yamaha just being the first ones, they're updating it as you go. The bike is adjustable in person, and it's really adjustable on this map. It's kind of mind-blowing if you think about it. So when it comes to suspension settings, we didn't really deviate that far from stock here today. I personally like my bike a little bit lower in the rear and be a little bit slower when it comes to rebound settings. Stock is right around 97 and 99 millimeters of sag. I went to 103 to kind of get it down a little bit in the rear, opened up the high speed about a quarter of a turn, and then sped up the rebound a little bit. And then that got me kind of where I wanted to be. Naturally, we're not that familiar with this track. I'm not that familiar with this dirt, but it got me comfortable. It got me where I wanted to be and comfortable enough to do most of the obstacles on the course, feel like I had a planted feel on both ends. It's gonna be probably different once we get it back to Southern California and ride on tracks that we're used to riding on and sliding around a little bit more. Back here, the dirt's really good, especially in the morning. It's really good, it's really tacky. You have all the traction you need front and rear. So we weren't kind of sliding stuff into turns and sliding out of turns and accelerating out of turns like we would normally do, say in Southern California on the Southern California tracks. So I'm sure that suspension settings will change. We'll be able to see exactly how much front end traction this bike has and be able to play around a little bit more with the suspension settings. So in a couple weeks when we get it back in Southern California, stay updated to the website, and you might see some updates on what we've messed around with and what we've done. But Yamaha brought out in 2023 a slimmer, more rider-friendly open cockpit of a motorcycle that still retained all the power and gave it some more revs on top. It's a good motorcycle. It's done really good in our shootouts in the past. Could the changes that they've made this year be enough to make it a shootout winner? Only time will tell. We'll get it together with all the other motorcycles and probably be doing a 450 shootout here in the next month or two, and we'll see exactly how it stacks up against everything else. One thing we gotta really say is it's pretty impressive that Yamaha stuck with this platform, although sometimes not the most accepted platform along the way and sometimes not the most popular platform, but they've stuck with this reverse style engine and this frame layout and everything since about 2010, and this is a way better motorcycle than 2010, and I think that Yamaha guys are going to be happy with what they got. And you know what, there might be some converts, there might be some KTM riders or some Kawasaki riders or some Suzuki riders that come over and go, hey, you know what, this bike is pretty good. So Yamaha guys are going to be happy, and there might be some people changing brands. So don't forget to check out dirtbikemagazine.com for all your latest off-road motorcycle industry news. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date with all of our latest releases. We will have a lot more 450 models coming out, content coming out, and there will be a shootout very soon. So hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. And if you got a little bit more time on your hands, click the video thumbnail now and see what other things we're working on.